Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh la la. Whoa, whoa. Oh la la. King in the castle, king in the castle. King in the castle.
And hello fellow Techie Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks, and today we are back in the T95E6 Tier 10 American Medium Tank Reward Medium Tank or OP Earned Medium Tank. Fantastic machine. So we're gonna have 2 more games in this tank, but I just couldn't make this video without being a little bit extra salty because of few games that I had in the same day actually with this tank. I mean, the teams were absolutely horrible, boys and girls. Like I was either on a good end of a complete ruffle stomp, or I was on the other side trying to fight my way out, claw my way out in order to get a victory. It was just a weird day. Hard to explain. But in the game, in the intro, basically what happened there was the entire green team and the entire red team set up along the 1 and 2 line, and they were all just sitting there. There was few tanks that came into where I was, so I had some shots on some of the reds that actually showed up, and from my team there was maybe 1 or 2 tanks that came to the hill to fight with me, but after that there was no one else there. I was just all by myself on top of the hill and nothing to shoot at. And there was a TD that was outspotting me. I'm not sure how, but I guess the guy must have had a fantastic view range. So I was on my way to help the tanks on the bottom at 1 and 2 lane, but when I was sliding down the hill, you saw what happened. And then I was like, fuck that shit. I lost all my HP. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So some dude told me to drown myself, and I played along. I was like, okay, sure, why not? I can go for a swim. Check out if the water is warm. Maybe I can do a little bit of diving. Fuck playing the game. Just go for a swim instead. I hope it was amusing for him, for his satisfaction. But anyway, we're back in T95E6. The tank is absolutely fantastic. I just hope that I had some more balanced teams next time I play this tank. But today I have 2 games for you guys, and both are really good. They're both over 5k damage. Actually, second game is my highest damage I've done in this tank so far. Now both games are consecutive games as well from my run on the same day. Probably there are more good games to come in this tank, which I'm extremely excited about. But games like this that I'm going to show you today are great because they actually teach me how to be better. And when I record my games, I actually go through them trying to understand what I did and why. And those are the little things, the little mistakes that I pick out from those games that actually make me better later down the road. And I think posting games like this is probably good for some of you guys that are looking for ways to improve your game in order to get better. The mistakes are the ones that will actually teach you how to be better. And I think games like this, for me, they're fantastic because I get a lot of information for myself to try to figure out what I can do better next time around if I play this map. Or what did I do that forced me to make a mistake, right? How can I prevent that next time I play the game? Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the games. The first one is on map Berlin. And as you can see, I have to push the issue because, you know, the other flank looks like it's going to lose. So we really need to push hard on this side of the map. So I decided to kind of move in a little bit closer. At the same time, this is probably first mistake that I made because I took way too much damage from these two guys. I should have been using the building a little bit better on my left in order to side scrape. And I probably wouldn't be losing as much HP. Maybe I could have waited for my friendly E5 that was right behind me, but I did not do that. And now because I lost HP, I don't want to lose any more, so I'm not getting any damage. Now this here, oh shit, I was lucky. I didn't know that girl was looking at me because I was unspotted for a split second there, but I bounced that shell. I think he was aiming that shot at the E5 and it hit me by accident, but still. So we managed to win that flank quite quickly, and this tank is absolutely fantastic for winning flanks because of the rate of fire. You're just shredding the opposition to pieces, right? I might need to consider change my loadout a little bit more, get more AP rounds instead of heat. I initially put it 50-50, but I think I'm using a lot more AP rounds in this tank than I initially anticipated. Anyway, I see this E50M. I wanted him to drop. If he dropped to my location, we would have crossfire here against these heavy tanks that just won the 9-0 line, right? So that was the idea here. Actually, I wanted to go and help him first, but because I realized that there are shots here, I decided to stick around and take some shots. And being over there, maybe I would have been able to help him, and maybe we would have been able to clear that side of the map. Maybe this was my mistake for standing around here and taking those shots. At the same time, I did not realize that I ran out of AP rounds, and I wanted to swap to heat, and by accident I swapped to HE rounds, and I wasn't really aware of that, and I'll figure it out in a split second here. But if you look at the map right now, look at the mini-map. There's a tank destroyer at E3, right? And there are a bunch of tanks that are engaging him right now at G3, red tanks. I didn't think that the reds are gonna push that quickly. And actually not all of them pushed up. Only one tank destroyer will actually make its way to G3, and my tank destroyer backs off. Now my mistake was that I did not check who my tank destroyer is and who the opposing tank destroyer is. And basically it turned out to be a Foch, and he clipped me out just like that. So tunnel vision. I tunnel visioned a little bit. Well, I can't entirely say tunnel visioned because I did know that the tank destroyer is there. What I didn't do is turn around and check who the tank destroyer is and how far he actually made it. Does he have shots on me? And this is the convoy that was sitting right there, and he was just sitting in the back. He didn't want to engage. I don't know if he was scared. If he could have engaged the Foch and drain them down a little bit, I would have maybe survived this battle. We could have maybe carried this at the end. But again, little things like this are the ones that kill me every once in a while. It's just not being fully aware of what's going on all the time in every area of the map. That is the important thing. And sometimes when you get, you know, so focused on the game and what you're doing at this point in time, aiming, dealing with situations, sometimes you'll just forget about certain things. Now in this situation here, I wasn't really under extreme pressure, so I can't really use it as an excuse, to be honest. I should have probably stopped behind the dead wreck of a tank, turned around, checked what the tank destroyers were, who's coming from that side of the map, see who my tank destroyer is, and then based on that make a decision. And if I knew what was going on behind me, I would have pushed forward and engaged the E100 a little bit further down so I can isolate myself from those tanks that were shooting me in the side. So my last shot into E5, that was kind of, I wanted to get him out of the game. I was thinking, that's it, my last shot. Let's at least get one gun out of the game. But that did not pan out, and now my team pretty much lost because of the light tanks on the opposing team. And that's how important the light tanks are. If you guys can stay alive until the end of the game, you can do a lot of damage, that's for sure. Anyway, let's take a look at the post-game stats and see how I did. So we managed to put up 5.2k damage in a very fast-paced game with 1.2k assisted damage for a combined total of 6.3k damage, which is pretty good. Finished second next to T125, who had 5.4k damage. We finished with 5.1. So for second game, we were on map Dukla Pass, and this tank, let's test it. And that's what I was thinking to myself. If you guys watch my videos, I have presented a video at one point about Dukla Pass, about location J9. There's a bush at J9, and I was really anxious to take this tank over there, see what it can do. I was really anxious to see what it can do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get ourselves into that location, see if we can get some assisted damage, and also how well we can stay concealed without getting detected. So this tank has mobility to get there, no problem. It has the view range definitely to spot all kinds of things over there. The camo probably will not be that good, but we'll see what it can do. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna scoot down into location J9, and at this point I was just kind of looking at the distribution of my team to see where everybody was going. But I noticed that a lot of tanks are coming this way, which is great because that's normally where all the fighting happens, is in this, what do you call it, H8 to K0 quadrant, right? So it looks like we have some armor here. There's E5, there's a couple of French heavies. Should be good. Only one RD in play, which is pretty good. I'm trying to give messages to my team saying that I am ready to fire, and I want them to be ready to fire, because if they need a target, I can provide the targets for them, and that's because I'm going into that location, right? Just trying to communicate a little. And usually when my team doesn't communicate back, it just tells me that okay, something is wrong. My team might not be that good. Anyway, take a look at this shot. We're gonna aim it up just like that and hit the light tank on the move. That was a good shot. I gotta pat myself on the back. That was a good shot. Anyway, this is the location here. We're gonna climb up, and we're gonna lose our sixth sense first. And now we're gonna climb up and see what we can spot. So we spot this E5. We're gonna try to put the shell into him. Now take a look at that. He angles. I waited for him to angle, and I don't know where that shell goes. No clue. Might have went to his track or whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna keep on doing the same thing, but as you can see, once I just poked out a little, I got spotted right away, and that's because there's a light tank at location H0. I think there's a, what is that, a Sheridan, or is that T49? I don't remember. Oh, it's a Sheridan sitting there, and he was pre-aiming at my location too. That's a good play by him. He was expecting me to poke. I should have poked like this instead of poking straight up with my nose sticking out, because he hit me in the side of the tank, and if I did it this way, then he wouldn't have. But he backed off, and all I wanted to do, so the idea here was just to get him to back off so that they don't spot me, right? That's what I was thinking. Now I can climb back up here and have these shots, and there's a lot of customers here that I can shoot at. And see, right now I'm not spotted. I fired that shot, I'm not spotted, because the light tank probably decided to go on the other side instead of fighting me, which is good for me. So we're gonna focus this 705A, and we're gonna try to track him. We hit his fuel tank already, so we should be easily be able to juice him here. Here I'm spotted already, but I wanted to finish him, and luckily I didn't get hit at the end, so that was a bit risky. The Sheridan poked out again. So yeah, I'm gonna keep on playing this position. This position is fantastic. So I strongly recommend this position to you guys. It's good for medium tanks. It's also good for heavy tanks that have some mobility, so you can get to this position fast. But at this point in time, looks like we're getting flanked royally. Area H7. Looks like some tanks are pushing through there. So I was gonna help my medium tank that's engaging the light tank, but then I realized, you know what, I should be able to put some shots into these guys here, and this object 260 is in trouble. So looking over the rock over here, I could actually see Capola of the E5, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to hit the E5. And we're gonna line up a second shot here, but unfortunately, yeah, this Yak runs into my shot. If he knew that I actually had a shot there, he probably wouldn't have done it, but he didn't know. So now we're gonna help our FV4202. The Sheridan is trouble, so we're gonna try to put a few shells into him and get him out of the game. So put one shell into him. I think our FV is gonna take him out. Yeah, that happened right there. And now we're gonna try to poke out and see if we have shots at this E100. Now there was also an AMX-50B here behind the hill, but he has disappeared. And actually the guy made a really good play. There were two autoloaders in this game. One was the Emil-2 and the other one was AMX-50B. And both of them are pretty much gonna decide this game, to be honest, because of AMX-50B. He's right there on the right hand side because he dropped and he's supporting his team from this location. He's gonna juice pretty much this Jagdpanzer E100. But we're gonna focus this E100, so we take him out of the game. At the same time, Emil-2 is putting shells into us, but now he backs off, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go after you, bud, because over here AMX-50B shouldn't have shots at me. And that's what I was trying to do. But he went after our Jagdpanzer E100, and that was a good move because he didn't spend all his shells on me. He wanted to take Jagdpanzer E100 out, and he will do so. I thought he was on a reload here, but he wasn't. He still had shells remaining. And yeah, unfortunately my friendly gets shot down. So now it's just us and the FV against a bunch of tanks. We're gonna take out this Emil-2, but at the same time our FV4202 gets taken out. And now it's just us versus 6 tanks. It's gonna be a steep slope because this AMX-50B is full health. So I'm gonna charge him here. I was thinking just charge him. We gotta engage him because I know that he's isolated here and the other tanks are coming from the other side of the map. So we actually managed to win the flank. But this AMX-50B gave us trouble here. I noticed Artie. And maybe I should have stayed in this location here to fight back. Maybe do the last stand thing, you know what I mean? But instead of I decided to get out of my pocket and attack the Artie. I was worried about getting hit by the big gun, and unfortunately everyone else shows up at the same time, and just like that I'm gonna be taken out of the game. Quite unfortunate. If FV4202 would have survived here with me, maybe with another tank, then we could have maybe been able to do something about it. But me remaining on my own, there's nothing, absolutely nothing I could have done. And in this game, actually, it was the team. I don't think I could have done anything better in order to secure the win for the team here. I think I've done everything that I could have. Maybe one mistake would be that I didn't engage the guys that were flanking us earlier. But then I had shots at the opposition, so I had to take the shots that I had given. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a fantastic tank, strongly recommended. I hope you will enjoy it going forward. Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking, Space Bandit checking out.